Hey Carlos, let's take a look at your week 3 assignment 2 drawing here. I think in a kind of an overall structural way, this is a very good rendering in both cases. Perspective feels very good in both of the drawings. I think that you've done a nice job of getting everything to work very proportionately. You know, the drawers are the same size. They're kind of a nice space apart. The side of the object feels good compared to the front of the object. There's a little bit of a thing where it feels like the object is a little bit long in the 2-point perspective. It doesn't feel quite as short as this one does. But I think that there is a nice job in terms of just how this thing is built overall. You know, I think in the way that you're laying out the structure of everything just feels very solid. The marker application, I think, there's a 50-50 thing going on here. I think the basic coat of base color that you're putting in both cases is very good. You know, the dark red for the shadowed drawer or shelf, the nice kind of change from dark to light, and even being able to get a little bit of a value change between some of the sides is very good. The same here, where I love the inside of this, which is kind of a brownish red as opposed to the orangish brown that's on the outside of the object, and the top plane as well being a little bit of a darker value, but still kind of the same color as what's going on the base coat here. So these are definitely things that you want to start the drawing out this way. I think where it's, for me, starts to kind of have issues is with the texture itself, which feels, I think, a little bit too quick, and I think may need to be a little bit more specific, and it might need to integrate into the object itself a little bit more. I think that, what it feels like right now is a lot of very kind of randomized strokes. It doesn't feel, I think, maybe as purposeful as it needs to be. It's also a little bit, I think, kind of striking that you have this extremely strong textural stuff going on the side and the front of the object, but there's none going on the top. So maybe that's kind of how it is. But I think that really overall it needs to be either toned down a little bit, or it needs to be made a little bit more observational. It needs to be a little bit more specific, and just try to kind of work it into that base color a little bit easier. Some of that could just be kind of working with the base color and the color that's on top and trying to get them to not be quite as different. If this is colored pencil that you're working with for the grain, you can, not put as much pressure on it. If this is marker, which I can't tell with this view, then I would use colored pencil, with it. I think you also need to work on the value changes a little bit. This side of the object feels a little bit darker than this side of the object, but since the light is coming from this direction, this would be the lightest part of your cabinet, maybe the top plane as well, and this would be the darker one. So I think you need to go in and apply kind of what you're doing here to a little bit more of the planes themselves, so that we have just more of a distinction as we kind of go from this direction to this direction, being able to see that with the value as well as the perspective. I think that and the texture are really the things that I would try to work on, more than anything else. I like this kind of background that's going on, maybe a little bit more than this, which feels a little strong, the really bright yellow, contrasting with the green. I think I like this more, where everything kind of fits together, but everything's, very distinct. And it also feels a lot, pretty solid in terms of the application, which I would say is good in both counts in terms of, how well you're laying down the marker. It definitely feels like you're more comfortable, with it, and that it's going on very smoothly, very consistently for the most part when it comes to these large areas, and even the base coat underneath things. It just feels very good. So take a look at the texture, see if you can maybe integrate it into the base color that you have a little bit, more seamlessly. Think about the value a little bit more and how you can apply it to the planes of the object a little bit more consistently. But I think you're on the right track. It's definitely a good series of drawings, and I think it just needs a little more work, and you're definitely there.